Yeah, so good afternoon, everyone. A warm welcome to you all. We are delighted to welcome you to our webinar on data visualization, transforming numbers into insights. So join us as Mr. Krishna shares his valuable insights on turning complex data into clear, actionable visuals. So this session promises to enhance your understanding of how effective data visualization can drive informed decision making. So we hope you gain practical knowledge and valuable takeaways from this session. So looking forward to your active participation. So you can use the chat to ping in your questions and we'll take them up and answer them as and when required. So over to you, Mr. Krishna, so we can get started.
Thank you, Patil. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everybody is able to hear me clearly. This is Radha Krishna. I go with the name Krishna. I'm an experienced data visualization engineer with over 10 years of experience in various projects in data warehousing and data visualization and loading data into a data warehouse, visualizing that data. So I've seen the full cycle of a data warehouse and right from the loading of data to the end user, the visualization part of it. So I see a good amount of participants joining in today. So before we get started, can I get a quick, probably a reply on the chat based on just informing the location from where you're joining, probably your years of experience, just to get an overview of the kind of audience that we have in our session today. Can we do that in the chat window, please? So I just posted. Yes, there we have. That's our first post by Mohammad Imtiaz from Chennai, Nikita from Gurgaon, Bangalore, Shoven Mohapatra from Bangalore. Okay, so we have few folks from the healthcare domain as well. Digital marketing, healthcare again, operations experience. Yeah, okay. Digital marketing, procurement, finance and sales operations. Perfect, perfect. Let me start sharing my screen, and you guys can confirm once you see the presentation. So how we will go through this presentation is we'll have a slight overview of what is data visualization and how can data visualization benefit us. So we'll try to keep this as interactive as possible. I don't want to lecture you guys on what is data visualization, but it'll be more of an interactive discussion between all of us. Okay, so let me start the presentation here. Okay, so we have more participants tuning in. Yes. Is everybody able to see my screen now? Yes, perfect. Okay. So what is the agenda for us? Data visualization, transforming numbers into valuable insights. So what is data visualization? What are the uses of data visualization? What are the tools or what are the current leaders in the data visualization space? And then we'll switch to a quick visualization hands-on exercise. It's not all PowerPoint and discussion only. We'll also see some hands-on exercises using Tableau and if time permits using Power BI. So, and how do you create effective data visualizations? Okay, what is the basic principle that you need to follow when you have to create a data visualization, or how what can when can you call a data visualization as an effective data visualization tool? Okay. So before we get started, I would like to know from all of you. What do you understand by the term data visualization? Okay, so all of you might have created some or the other kinds of graphs or visuals during your experience, right? I see most of the folks have a lot of experience in various areas, but all of us might have dealt with some numbers, right? So, what do you understand by the term data visualization? Can I have some quick responses in the chat window, guys? What do you understand by the term data visualization? It is in the very title of our presentation. Okay, presenting numbers in picture format, data to meaningful insights, graphical representation of data, yes, representing data or numbers into meaningful charts, graphical representation of information, report representation of okay, so I see a common theme in all the responses. We are trying to convert our data into graphical representation. So we have lots of data. Now we are trying to convert them into graphical form. So why do you think we need to convert our data into a graphical form? So the next question is, why do we need to convert our numbers into a graphical format? So it is easier for us to understand the data, right? It is easier for us to comprehend the volumes of data that we save on a day-to-day basis. So whether it is your banking or whether it is your marketing domain or banking domain or manufacturing or your e-commerce, every day we generate tons of data as part of our day-to-day transactions, right? Now, how do I analyze this millions and millions of records that we are generating on a day-to-day basis? That's where visualizations come into picture. Visualizations convert our complex data Visualizations convert our complex data into simple and easily understandable format. Okay, transforming raw data into meaningful insights. So when you say raw data, right? So when you have a lot of your data saved in the form of Excel data, you have a lot of data saved in the form of RDBMS tables, you have a lot of data saved on cloud in various formats, right? Now, how do I analyze this data? How do I visualize this data? Okay, so that's when data visualization tool, a graphical format or a graphical representation comes into picture. Okay, so all of you remember your high school days, right? Where whenever we have to whenever we have to remember a complex process, right? Let's say you have a complex process that has to be explained in your physics or chemistry, high school physics or high school chemistry. So the authors always used to rely on simple flowchart kind of a representation in order to explain you a complex process. Why is that so? Because using a simple visual, I can explain a complex process to all the readers. Okay, so when you are in your high school, you are at a very novice stage, right? So you will it is easy for us to understand. For a high school going kid, it is easier for them to understand a complex process or a complex scenario using a simple line diagram. For example, if I have to understand how a blast furnace works, okay, so I don't know anything about steel manufacturing, but if I have to understand how a blast furnace works, it's a simple diagram that the author used to rely upon in order to explain how a blast furnace works and how the entire process of iron ore to steel conversion happens through a blast furnace. So that is the beauty of a visualization. Similarly, when you are looking at your day-to-day graphs and day-to-day visualizations, right? So let's say at the end of the day, I'm looking at primetime news at 9 o'clock, and suddenly the newsreader says that today's stock market has gained 300 points, and in the initial session, and by the end of the day, it has lost its momentum, and it tanked by 500 points. So all of this information they would represent in a simple line graph. Okay, so even a layman who has no knowledge on stock market or what is Nifty or what is Sensex can understand what happened in stock market in that day. Okay, did it gain any points or did it lose any points? It will be easy for us for them to comprehend how the stock market has behaved on that day. Okay, so that is the beauty of visualization. So it simplifies complex data for us, but with the help of graphical representation. Okay, now question to all of you. So what are the most commonly used graphs that you see in your day-to-day life? Okay, I've quoted one example of stock market data. So what are the other graphs that you see in your day-to-day lives on a day-to-day basis? What are the other types of charts or graphs that you see? Okay, bar charts, bubble charts, pie charts, these are different types of charts. I was asking more of the representation, like the use of it. For example, the stock market data in the form of a line chart. Similarly, what are the other charts that you see? Other kind of visualizations, population, yes, population and sales and consumption. Yes, that is a beautiful example. Automobiles, yes, gold. Gold is a very common data that we see. Sales volume, sports records. Yes, that's a very interesting uh, snippet that we see on a day-to-day basis. Okay, INR to USD, yes, dollar rate conversions, steel price, gold, commodity prices that you see on a day-to-day basis. Your election results, yes, that's also an interesting part of it. Yes, battery usage, or if you are a Windows user, you can also relate to the disk space usage, right? We get a pie chart which says how much is the space used and how much is the free space left on your device. Yes, Mohan says screen time as well. Yes, there are a lot of applications on your mobile which even gives you graphical representation of screen time, right? Budget allocation. Another useful example. All of us might have these fitness apps on our mobiles, right? Exactly, Isha. Yeah, as I was speaking immediately, there are a couple of people who have mentioned it. Health goals, fitness goals. So how many steps have you done on this day? How many steps have you done on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis? Is your average above the monthly average, or is it below the previous month? So you see all this kind of graphical representation, right? See, if I simply show you the step counts, like you have done 10,000 today, 8,000 yesterday, 15,000 day before yesterday, it doesn't make any sense, or it doesn't give us any insight into how we are performing, or how our fitness goals, how close are we to our fitness goals? Are we consistent with our steps? Are we performing above the previous week's average? Are we doing below it? If in order for me to analyze that data, right, it is always good if I have some data in a visual format. Okay, visual format always gives you easier understanding of your data and gives you better insights into your data. Also, you will be able to identify trends. You'll be able to identify outliers in your data with the help of visualizations. Okay, so when you look at textual information, right, so you might not be able to understand if your data is continuously increasing, or if there is a sudden dip in data, or if there is a sudden increase in data, what might have caused that dip and increase, we'll not be able to understand that or comprehend that from the direct uh, tabular form of data. So it is easier for us to understand if we put it in a visual format. Okay, facilitates deeper insights into data. Okay. A best example, all of you might have seen in your shopping malls, in your DMarts and all your major shopping avenues, right? So you might have seen that there are certain sections which are placed beside each other. Okay, the kid section and the female section are placed beside each other. Similarly, all the kids racks will be at a lower height, placed in the when they place the items, they place it at a lower level. Also, near your billing counters, you see a lot of colognes and what do you say, daily used items placed near the billing counters. So these are not some things which have suddenly popped out of somebody's brain and they've started doing it. So after analyzing years of retail data, they have come up with these kind of ideas. So this kind of analysis is something which was done by Walmart. It is called as market basket analysis, where they have analyzed the data of a lot of female shoppers. They have seen shoppers who come with kids. What are the frequently brought items from them? So they have analyzed a lot of data like this, and then they have come up with business decisions like this. So business data, when analyzed correctly, when visualized properly, can turn into proper outcomes in your business, which can turn profitable for your business. Okay, similarly in Amazon also, you would see when you select for an item, at the bottom of that you would see frequently bought together. Yes, right. So when you're so let's say you're searching for a mobile, it will immediately show you some mobile covers or some chargers or earphones or earbuds, something which is related to those products, right? So it's not simple classification of products, but it is also based on tons of volumes of data where they have analyzed how people have brought items together. So what are the shopping trends that they have? They try to identify that from the data that they are collecting from the daily transactions. So that is the beauty of data collection, and that is the beauty of visualizations. Okay, so deeper insights beyond regular reports. So how many of you have heard about this term Anscombe Quartet? Has anybody heard about this term Anscombe Quartet previously? So this is a data set that was formed in the 1970s or 1960s, where they have, if you see, four different sets of data, and all these four sets of data have the same statistical outcomes. Okay, if you see here, data set 1, data set 2, data set 3, and data set 4. So these are four different data sets. You can see from the numbers they are quite different. But if you see the statistical outcomes of these, right? Average value of x and y, variance of x and y, coefficients, and the linear regression equation and all. So if you look at the summary data, it looks as if all of them are near real or very close data sets. But when you put them in the form of a graph, right? So you see the outcome of this, it would be totally different. It would be completely a different set of information that you are going. If you see the data here, excuse me. Okay, data set 1 looks like more of a scattered plot. Data set 2 is a different notation. Data set 4 is a straight line, vertical straight line. Okay, data set 3 is a horizontal straight line. So you see the information over here. So this is a common example that we take when we want to highlight the importance of data visualization. So this was something which was created by Francis Anscombe in 1973 to demonstrate the importance of data visualization. Okay, so Anscombe's quartet, though the statistical information. So if I just look at the tabular format of data, and if I look at the statistical outcomes of the data, so I might make a mistake of thinking that these are very closely related data sets, or when you plot them on a graph, they appear very similar to each other. But the reality is completely different. When you put them on a graph, simple x and y graph, the four data sets result in four different types of graphs. Okay, so that is the reason for adding Anscombe's quartet over here. Okay, so how many of you follow TED videos? Before we move further, I would like to ask a few questions. How many of you follow TED videos? On YouTube, you might have seen a lot of TED videos, right? TED. Okay, so I would suggest, yeah, TEDx, TED, yes, TED Talks, I would say. Let me rephrase that. Not TED videos, TED Talks. Okay. So there is a beautiful video on data visualization in TED Talks. It is a very old video. It is by a person called Hans Rosling. Okay, so it is by a person called Hans Rosling. Please make a note of it and try watching the visualization videos of this person. This guy is a Swedish professor. I think he's no more. He passed away just before COVID. And most of the visualization companies have paid their tributes to this person, Hans Rosling. So there would be a 10-minute or a 12-minute video of Hans Rosling where he grills a lot of information, population information from 1960s to 2000 or 2010. Okay, so how population and family size across different countries, different nations had an impact on the economic side of the country. Okay, so this is something Hans Rosling has put in a graphical format. Need not be using the Tableau or Power BI or other tools that we are going to discuss, but it is a very beautiful video which helps describe what is visualization. Okay, so before we move any further, I would like to know what are the tools that you are aware in the market? What are the data visualization tools that are currently available in the market? What are the tools that you are aware? Okay, so I see two tools that are commonly posted. Okay, Priyadarshini has added a third entry. Okay, so what are the other tools that we have in the market? All of you have quoted the top three tools. PowerPoint is not exactly a visualization tool. Okay, Shahbaz Ahmed, another new entry. Okay, so common responses are Tableau, Power BI uh, are the ones which have the highest, and then ClickSense. Okay, yes. Looker, yes. Looker is from Google, yes. Similarly, you have other tools as well. ThoughtSpot, Cognos. Has anybody heard of QuickSight? QuickSight is a visualization tool that is developed by AWS. Now, every company is trying to come up with its own visualization tool. Tableau is from Salesforce. It's not exactly developed by Salesforce, but it was acquired by Salesforce. Then Microsoft has Power BI. Okay, Click again is a standalone company. Okay, Oracle has its own visualization tool. Google has its own visualization tool. Okay, Grafana, yeah, that's also an interesting add-on. So Grafana is more of its visualizations are more on the ELK stack, server health monitoring, and those kind of uh, site reliability, server configuration, and those kind of data if you want to visualize, log data if you want to visualize, we'll go for Grafana and those kind of tools. What we have here is something called as Gartner's Magic Quadrant. So if you see here, right? So this is something which is called as Gartner's Magic Quadrant. The graph that you see here is called Gartner's Magic Quadrant. It is divided into four different sections: leaders, challengers, niche players, and visionaries. So, if I, as a manager, want to understand which tool I have visualization newly coming into my project. Now I want to understand which tool should be implemented in my project, or how do I go about selecting a visualization tool for my project. So I can refer this particular Gartner Magic Quadrant. So this is an industry standard report where Gartner actually talks to people who are using these visualization tools, and they come up with the pros and cons of all the visualization tools, and they publish a report every year for the visualization, not just for the visualization space. Gartner publishes reports for every walk of the IT industry, whether it is cloud computing, ETL, database, AI tools, visualization tools. Okay, so programming. So all these different areas, it would publish something called as a Gartner's Magic Quadrant. And in this particular Magic Quadrant, right, if you see the leaders, so in this leaders quadrant, Tableau, which is nothing but Salesforce, Tableau, Microsoft, and Click have been consistent performers for over 5+ years. So they have been in the leaders quadrant for 5+ years. So the other areas that you see here, the other companies that you see here, Google, Oracle, ThoughtSpot, so they have recently come into the leaders space. Okay, with more and more AI and actionable insights coming into picture, right? So there are more companies that are implementing these, and they are also coming into the leaders quadrant. Okay, so the importance of this Gartner's Magic Quadrant is to show you that we are dealing with the leaders in the visualization space. Okay, so next question again to all of you. Why do you think Microsoft Power BI or Tableau are the leaders in this space? Why do you hear these terms very frequently when it comes to visualization? What do you think have made these tools leaders in the visualization space? Okay, user friendly. Okay, any other responses? So user friendly is one, and the learning curve for these tools is not very, it's not a very steep learning curve. You can easily start learning these tools and start implementing in your projects. Okay, so prior to Power BI, Tableau, and all these visualization tools, right? So visualizing numbers into graphs is not something which started after your early 2000s or mid 2000s. It's been in practice since very long. So how come these visualization tools picked up space in the last 10 years? Previous to visualization tools, right? So we had something called as reporting tools, IBM Cognos, Business Objects, Hyperion, SSRS. So a lot of different terms that were already available. So these were robust tools which needed a high level of understanding of data, a high level of querying knowledge, SQL knowledge. Okay. So not everybody were able to use these tools for converting their data into visualizations. So these Salesforce, Tableau, Click, and all these things, when they came into the market, right? So their single agenda was to simplify how business users start using the data. If you have something in Excel, connect Tableau to Excel and simply start converting your numbers into graphical formats. Okay, so it's more of plug and play. I don't have to be an expert on so and so technology or so and so not so and so terminology in order to start creating graphs. Tableau and Power BI made life simpler and easier for a lot of report developers or dashboard developers. So it's more of a plug and play tool, drag and drop tool. It can be used by a HR professional, it can be used by a data scientist, it can be used by a digital marketeer, it can be used by somebody from the MIS team or somebody from the higher management team. Anyone who is working on crunching numbers can connect their data to Power BI and Tableau and start working on those numbers, start creating graphs on their own. It is the simplicity that actually made these tools very, very popular. Okay, so what are the key characteristics of Tableau? It's user friendly interface. It's a very simple tool and easy to understand interface. The terminology, once you get hold of the terminology, the jargon, it's more of drag and drop tool, and you can easily start connecting to your data and start converting your data into visualizations. So like I mentioned, Tableau has been in the leader space for over 5 plus years. In fact, for over 10 plus years it's been in the leaders space, and it has a very strong community, and it gets frequent updates on whatever bugs that are identified, right? So Tableau tries to fix them with frequent releases throughout the year and addresses these bugs very quickly. And also, once it was acquired by Salesforce, right? So they have also integrated a lot of inbuilt Salesforce products with Tableau. That is also a key contributor to Tableau's growing influence in the visualization space. Similarly, Microsoft Power BI. So if you talk about Power BI, the term Microsoft itself helps you understand why this tool has become a very popular tool. Though Power BI is a late entry into the visualization space, it has captured the market. Excuse me. It has captured the market, and it has become a leader in the visualization space. First thing, it is coupled with the existing Microsoft Office 365. So you don't need a separate license to install Power BI. If you have Office 365 on your laptop, you can install Power BI without any additional license requirements. So on your Office laptops, if you have Office 365, you can check and install Power BI and start playing with Power BI for creating visuals. Okay, and it's seamless integration with Microsoft tools. So Microsoft has a lot of products, right? Like the Azure, SharePoint, and the previous SSRS and those kind of areas as well. So in Tableau has not Tableau, Power BI has integrated pretty well with all those existing tools, and the UI is also very familiar to Excel and charts that we create on Excel. So the familiarity part also has added some brownie points for Microsoft Power BI in becoming a leader in the visualization space. Okay, so this is about what is Tableau and Power BI, and what are the key components that made them as leaders in the visualization space. Okay, so shall we go on to some hands-on? Okay, so before we go there, I would like to know what makes a visualization effective. When you talk about a graph, right? What are the key factors of that visualization that would make a visualization effective? If I look at a graph, I have to grasp the information from that. So for that purpose, what are the key factors that can contribute? Okay, Nikita says not too crowded. Yes. Too much of clutter. So if you look at your election data, right, Arnab Goswami actually uh, has a lot of business information on all sides, a lot of advertisements that goes on throughout the screen, and there is a one small graph which shows whether Congress or BJP are have made the magic mark or not. So it's difficult for me to identify the graph from that because of the clutter that is there on the screen. Okay, so any graph that you're creating should always be simple and easy to understand. What is the main purpose of going for a visualization? It should be easy to understand, right? It should be easy to understand. simplicity and easy to understand. I should be able to easily grasp the data from the visualization. Similarly, if you are creating a visual, right, so it should have some consistency. So if one graph is showing sales in red color or blue color, another graph is showing sales in some other color, it would be difficult for me to understand, right? So if you are creating a dashboard, if you take a particular field like sales or profit or EBITDA or PAT or whatever number that you are taking, right, it should have a consistent color scheming across the dashboard. It should, if you take blue for sales, sales should be represented in blue color in all the graphs. Okay, simplicity, consistency. Okay, you can also go for accessibility options, and then you have performance. If you have created a graph and it is taking 5 minutes, 10 minutes just to load, then it is of no point, right? So it has to load the data quickly. When somebody is opening your report, it should immediately display the data to the end user and display the graph to the end user. It should be easy to understand for that end user, and it should also show exact information. It should not, if you're looking at a number, right, let's say the EBITDA number, it should not display the wrong numbers for EBITDA, because based on this information the business is going to take some decisions later. So whatever information that you're putting, it has to it has to be relevant, it has to be consistent, and it has to be accurate when it comes to the data that you are representing. Okay, also interactivity. So instead of always displaying static reports, right, so if you are able to give them some filters, okay, give them a filter and let them play with the data, let them drill down the data. Instead of giving just year wise information or month wise information, give them a drop down and let them select what is the information that they want to view: yearly data, quarterly data, monthly data, like that. Okay. Similarly, interactivity is what we have discussed, and it should be able to tell you a story about your data. It's not just plain numbers that you are displaying, plain line graph or bar graph. It should be able to tell you a story about your business, your product, or your process, whatever you are monitoring on your dashboard, right? So it should be able to communicate or give some insights on top of that data. Okay, so there are lots of complex visualizations that are available in the market. So instead of going for that complex visualization and trying to educate your users, it's always good if you keep your visualization simple and help the users understand your simple graphs and take the feedback from them. That's the reason we say know your audience. Whom are you creating your visualizations for? Are you creating for directors, associate directors, vice presidents, presidents, this level of people? Are you creating visualizations for day-to-day managerial level monitoring, or are you creating something for inventory managers who are trying to manage the inventory, look at the inventory stock and everything? So you need to know your audience and display the numbers or display the visualizations according to that. Okay, the reason why we say this is, if you are creating a visualization for a director or associate director, they would be more interested in looking at the summary data, like whether it is 100K, 500K, or 1000K or 1 million. They would be interested in the number there. If I'm talking about an inventory manager who is trying to manage his stock, they would be interested in the actual numbers, right? How many let's say, how many bags of cement do you have in your stock? Okay, 25, 30, 50, 60. So you need the exact number for that. So always know your audience and create the visualization according to them. Okay, so your VP, AVPs, they would be looking at the visualization probably from a handheld device like a mobile or an iPad, or a smaller device. Okay, your low level managers who are consuming your data, they might look at your data from a 17-inch laptop or a bigger monitor in their workplace. So depending on the audience, depending on what kind of interfaces that they use, we can actually create our visualizations. Okay, so enough of theory. Let's go to some hands-on exercise. By the way, whatever you're seeing on the screen on this part of the presentation, this is a kind of a visualization. Is anybody aware what is this called? the simplicity, color and contrast, consistency. You see different fonts that are there in this, right? Yes, exactly. This is called as a word cloud. Okay, this is also a type of a visualization. So when we initially prepared the presentation, we have put this in the visual format, in a simple text format, which was not very appealing. That's when we changed this to a word cloud in order to signify that simplicity and accuracy are the key items when it comes to creating effective visualizations. Okay, accessibility, storytelling, know your audience are slightly of lower importance. Accuracy, simplicity, and relevance are the key factors when it comes to creating effective visualizations. Okay, excuse me. So what you currently see on your screen is called Tableau Desktop. So Tableau has different products which we use to create our entire visualization. So desktop is the one where we actually connect to our data and start creating our visualizations. Okay. So when you say visualization, right? What does it is data visualization, right? So the first part is data, next part is visualization. So always connecting to data is the first part, and once you connect to data, visualizing that would be the second part. So if you see the screen here, this is called as Tableau Desktop, and under Tableau Desktop, on the Tableau Desktop screen that you see here, the first part is selecting your data source. Where does your information come from? So it can come from file based data sources, it can come from different servers. Okay, so you can select that and you can start connecting to the underlying data and start creating the visuals. Okay, so there are a lot of options that you can use with respect to Tableau Desktop. So you see file based connectors. Okay, then you have your traditional databases like IBM DB2, Microsoft SQL Server, Teradata, Vertica, SAP HANA, all these are available. And then you have your latest databases like the Snowflake, Vertica, Salesforce Data Cloud, and also the AWS databases, right? Amazon Aurora, Amazon Athena, Amazon Redshift, Azure Synapse, Azure SQL Database, ADLS Gen 2, Google Cloud SQL, Google Drive. So you can connect to any of these and start working on your data. So each of these are called as data connectors. So I can connect to this data. I can click on any of these. And let's say if I say Teradata, so it will ask me what is the server information and username password for Teradata. If I click on let's say SAP HANA, the underlying connector would be slightly different. Okay. Similarly, if I go for let's say Microsoft MySQL. Okay. Similarly, it is asking for what is the username password for MySQL. And once you enter this, it will take you to the MySQL server where you can connect to the schema, connect to the underlying database and fetch the data. Okay. For time being, let's take a simple database or simple set of information and start creating some visuals on that. Okay. So Tableau gives us a retail information which is called sample superstore. This is just for the sake of the demo purpose, just like how you have employee and department table while learning SQL, right? So sample superstore is something which is used during the initial stages of Tableau training. Okay, so this is a retail database where you have some orders information and returns information. So order information, when you say order information, order ID, order date, okay, customer information, from where did he place the order, what is the sale amount, what is the profit amount, all that comes into picture. Okay, so let us use orders information. Okay, so there are different ways of connecting to your data. I can always connect live to my data. So as soon as something happens in the database, my report also gets the data. Or I can go for something called as an extract. where it will give snapshots of data, and my visualization would connect to those snapshots and help us create visualizations on top of it. Okay. So first you have made a connection to the data source. Then from that data source, you are actually identifying which table do you want to use for creating the visual. And now you are saying what fields do you want to use for creating the visual. Okay. So what is your, I would not exactly say X and Y axis, but how do you want to represent your data? Do you want to go for a vertical bar chart? Do you want to go for a horizontal bar chart? All these things will be decided in this space. This is called as a Tableau workspace. Okay, you see, clutter-free, clear, and easy to understand workspace. All you need to do is just drag and drop, and Tableau will take care of the visualizations. And let's say you're new to visualization and you would like to understand how this works. Okay, so you see the show me section on the right hand side. There is a show me section which I am expanding on the right hand side. So this is something which will help me understand what kind of charts can be created. Okay, so let's say I'm newly starting with visualization. I don't really know whether a bar chart will look nice or a line chart will look nice for my data. So I can take help of this show me section. This is like recommended charts. Okay, if I select something, let's say I select country information and I select sales information, country and let's say state. Now you see immediately it has highlighted certain graphs for me. So when I click on the graph, it will immediately create a chart for me. So it will immediately create a chart for me and it will immediately. So you can compare, is this a good chart? Or if I select country, state, and sales, the same set of information. There are other tables also, other charts also which are created here. So let's say I click on a tree map. So which is more visually appealing for me, which is simplifying the data for me. So this is more easily readable for me, right? So I can select this particular data. Okay. So it's not like you will learn everything about graphs and then come start creating visualizations on Tableau or on Power BI. So both the tools have something called as recommended charts, wherein you can select the columns and it will tell you that this is the visualization that you can go for. Okay. So what was the, let me repeat the question again. What was the chart that we have seen in the presentation previously? What was the chart that we have previously seen? Word cloud, right? So shall we create a word cloud for the same data here? So right now we are seeing sales information for different states across United States, right? So let's create the same word cloud on Tableau. Okay. So what do I need as part of my word cloud? I need all the states, right? So I would put all my states into text here. So it has all the sales information available over here. I mean, sorry, the state information available here. So how many states do I have? I have around 59 states. So you can see that at the bottom on the status bar, you can say it says 59 marks. That means it has 59 data points on your screen. Now I would like to see which one has the highest sales. Okay, which one has the highest sales. So what we'll do, we'll take our sales and add it to the size section. Okay, it has immediately changed to another notation altogether. The reason for that is, if you see here, it is selected as automatic. So Tableau keeps changing this when you keep it automatic, right? Based on what is the best visual, it keeps changing to that section. So what we'll do, we'll override this and we'll say, give me a map. Oh, sorry, give me a text field. Okay, so now you can see out of all the 59 states that I have, California is the one which has the highest amount of sales. Okay, California is the one which has the highest amount of sales. What is the next one? New York is the one which has the next highest sales. Texas or Washington, Pennsylvania are the next set of sales. Okay. Now let's enhance this a little further and see if the profitability also is on the similar lines. Okay. If the profitability is also on the similar lines, let's compare that. So I'll put, so this particular field has two properties, right? One is the size and the other one is the color. So I will use profit in color over here. Okay. So you see anything which is in the blue zone is all profitable, is towards the higher profits. Anything which is towards the orange zone is in the negative profits. So you see Texas, even though the sales are pretty good in terms of profits, is in the negative zone. Okay, even Pennsylvania is also having a similar story. Even though the sales are pretty good, profits are in the negative zone. If you want, we can also change the color coding over here. Okay, so I will check something like green and gold. Profitable is on the green side, and anything which is towards the yellowish, goldish color coding is on the negative side. Clear? That's how simple it is to create a visualization on Tableau. Okay, so Power BI also has a similar UI. Okay, wherein you see, so you start here, go with a blank report, go to get data. So you can see all the connectors that are available here. Okay, file-based connectors, database connectors, Azure, and all these connectors that are readily available to you. Okay, so let's create a different kind of image on the Tableau screen here. So we have created a word cloud, right? So now let's create something called as a motion chart, or something which keeps changing based on the input that the user is giving. Okay, so I would like to see what are my sales over a period of 12 months from January to December. How are my sales for each of these 12 months? So I will use my date column in order to look at the data. Okay, so I want not the year information, but I would like to have the month wise information for this. So I would like to have the month wise information. So by default, Tableau, what it will do is it will create a line chart whenever it has monthly information, right? Oh, sorry, date wise information, right? It will always go for line chart by default. So that is something which Tableau uses as a best practice. Now, this particular January sales that it is showing, right? It is a cumulative sales for 4 years or 4 Januaries that are there in the data. Okay. So if I look at my if I look at the data that I have, right? So I have 4 years of information. So when I drill this down a little further, so I have 4 different Januaries in my entire data. So when you look at the line graph, this is more of a cumulative January information. Okay. Now I want my user to be able to look at all 4 years of information. So what I can do is you have a unique functionality in Tableau, which is called as a page. So I can create one page for each of the 4 years. So what we'll do is we'll just add our order date over here. And you see it says sheet 4 and 2021. And I can see this. Let me bring this over here. So you see, I can continuously display my data in this format. Okay. So when I say currently it stopped at 2024, right? So what we'll do is we'll say loop playback. So now what it will do? it keeps showing the information like this continuously. So we can also enhance this by showing the underlying history. Okay, current year I can show as the bar chart, line chart. The previous years I can show as lines with different colors. So we can customize this as per our requirement. So can we add year under filter option? Yes, we can also add year under our filter option as well. So any questions, anything that you want to discuss? Is it possible to create distinct lines for each year? Yes, we can definitely do it. So you see each of the year has a different color over here: 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024. 4 years of information. So drill through is already available in the date field over here. So if you see, you can actually roll it back to the original level, and from there you can actually drill it on a yearly basis, quarterly basis, monthly basis, like this. Okay, so let's quickly create a dashboard. Dashboard is a combination of multiple sheets. So let's quickly create that, and then we'll add some interactivity between those. Okay, so we have various dimensions that are there over here. So I have category wise sales data. Then I have, let's name this as category sales. Then we have segment. So these are different dimensions on which we have our data. So let's create 4 or 5 different charts and put them under a single chart. Okay, so here what we'll do, we'll keep this to monthly sales. Okay, so let's create one more where we have state-wise sales information. So advantage with Tableau is you can create these map visualizations with a simple click. With Power BI, we might slightly have to work a little more on creating those visuals. Okay, now let's add all of them in a dashboard. If you see here, so I can add all my graphs in a single container. Okay, so I can give more space to my Tableau map visualization. And also, you need to decide what is your main section within your entire dashboard. And based on that, you need to highlight that particular area. So do your user wants to have a better look at monthly data, or do they want to look at the category wise sales? Okay, so how do they want to look at the information? So based on that, you need to segregate your information. Okay, so you can play with the arrangement here and there. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's add one more chart here. So if you are well versed with the column names, right? So you can also type the column names and create the chart as well. So on the dashboard, we'll add sheet 9 here at the bottom. Okay, so I want my region to be the master for all the charts. So I can add this as a filter. Okay, and when I click on central, everything on the sheet, you see, would respond according to my interaction on the region sheet over here. You see, now I have selected East region, so it has zoomed into East region. Now, when I go for South, it goes to the South region. When I click on West, it comes to the West region. When I uncheck this, it would be back to the normal. So you can add interactivity between different visualizations. Okay. So when we spoke about effective visualization, right? So adding interactivity to give a proper context to your dashboard is also a key part of it. Okay. So on Power BI, you don't have to navigate through these many screens. Power BI has more modeling related features. And when it comes to creating a report or creating a dashboard, it will be done in the same space. And interactivity is by default added in your Power BI reports. Okay. Here we have to explicitly define the interactive options. Okay. So if I uncheck this section, right? So my selection would not make any difference. But in Power BI, this interactivity is uh, by default. Okay. Now, who are the audience for learning visualizations? Who are the target audience for learning visualizations? Okay, business analysts, data scientists are the ones who come first in this, but it is for anyone who is dealing with numbers. Okay, like I mentioned previously in our discussion, anyone who is working on numbers, it can be a HR professional, it can be a marketing professional, it can be a digital marketing person, it can be an MIS person, it can be a manager, it can be a financial analyst, it can be a business analyst. Anybody who is crunching numbers can work on these visualization tools like Tableau and Power BI, and you don't need to have any coding experience in order to learn these. Okay, so once you are well versed with the jargon of the tool, it's mostly how you interact with your Excel charts and how you create pivots and how you create graphs on Excel, right? It's as simple as that when you talk about Tableau and Power BI. Okay, so I think have just we just ran 3 minutes over our scheduled duration. So let me know if you have any questions. So I see there are still a good amount of participants who are still engaged in this. So I hope all of you were clear with my mode of delivery, and I hope all of you were got a brief idea of what is visualization, what are the current visualization leaders in the market, how you can create a simple visualization using Tableau. I hope all of you got some insights into that. So it's a very simple and easy to learn tool, right? Okay. So the entire Tableau and Power BI learning curve is mostly hands-on. Okay. So it would be mostly hands-on, nothing theoretical. No, we'll spend less time on presentation and it would be more time on the visualization part. Okay. So we will learn not just the basic visualizations like the line chart, bar chart, pie chart, tree map, map visualizations, and all these things. But also, we will also see some advanced visualizations like Pareto charts, waterfall charts, okay, donut charts, box and whisker plots. So there will be a lot of advanced visualizations also we would be looking at. This is whatever upcoming sessions will be there. They will be completely hands-on sessions where we will help you install the tool and we'll guide you through the learning. Throughout the learning phase, we'll guide you through various examples only. Okay, so it's not like sit and deliver data through presentations. It will be mostly through hands-on examples and hands-on exercises. Okay, all of you have been a lovely audience. Patil, do you want to
Yeah,
add
thank
anything?
you. Thank you, Radhakrishna. So, on behalf of the entire team, I would like to extend a heartfelt thanks for leading an insightful interactive session on data visualization. So, obviously, your expertise and engaging delivery made the webinar both enriching and enjoyable. I think the practical insights and the examples you shared were truly valuable, and we are confident that the participants gained a deeper understanding of the subject. So I would like to also express my heartfelt gratitude to all the participants for their active engagement, right? So they have been keying their questions, answering. So thank you for all the questions you asked, it contributed immensely to this particular session. So thank you once again, Radhakrishna, for your time and dedication. We look forward to much more learning opportunities in future. So thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you, Patil. Thanks, everyone.